Hey guys, welcome back to the Side Startup Club, where we are launching a real-life business. And this video is all about the business model element, key activities. So this is the startup process that we are trying to follow as linearly as possible for now. And right now we're in the middle of the business model canvas. And this is all about launching our Oaxaca travel platform. And within the business model canvas, we just completed channels. We had a few surprises, but we worked through them, and we changed some of our marketing strategy to incorporate YouTube content marketing. And now we are ready to move on to the key activities. And the key activities, in a nutshell, is extremely straightforward. What needs to happen in order to make this whole side of the business model canvas function? So in order to get this value proposition to these customers and receive this money, what are the activities that go into that? And it's as straightforward as that, and there's many ways to go about it. You can quickly brainstorm, okay, these are the main things that are going to be important, or you can go into a little more detail like I'm going to right now, depending on where you're at in the business model development stages. So a few quick notes about key activities before I dive into our Oaxaca example. You have one-off activities and you have ongoing activities. The business model canvas is much more concerned about ongoing activities. We want to know at the end of the day what our profitability is on a transaction by transaction basis. All of the fixed activities and the fixed costs associated with setting up a company and creating a product, over time those costs are kind of become negligible, or at least more and more negligible, because they're spread out over many years. So right now we want to put particular focus on the ongoing activities. And one of the tools that you need to be aware of comes from the engineering discipline. It's called a WBS, or work breakdown structure. And it just means we are going to take a final deliverable, break it into, let's say, mini milestones, and those milestones into tasks, and those tasks will be broken into subtasks, and so on and so forth. And this just helps organize and make sure we account for everything instead of just going at it in kind of a random fashion. And the way we might structure that WBS, again, there's different ways to go about this. You don't need to make it a science, but what I recommend is pay close attention to this channel element and the exercise we just went through, where we created exactly what goes into those channels. And also pay attention to the format of an income statement. At the end of the day, we're trying to do a profit analysis, and key activities is going to help us get there. So if we organize it kind of in the format of an income statement, it's going to streamline that. So we have cost of goods sold, we have operational costs, business administration costs, sales and marketing costs, and then financial costs. So what I did here is I come to Excel and I just structured how I'm going to organize my work breakdown structure. Again, here's the income statement related activities from financial, administration, marketing and sales, transactional activities. And because I have a short-term strategy with a short-term revenue model, as well as a mid-term strategy with a mid-term revenue model, and both of those different strategies require different key activities. So my work breakdown structure has an added layer of complexity, and I have these two different rows to capture the short term and midterm. I did have long term here, but it's too distant in the future to concern myself with it right now. And then there's another added layer of complexity with my business model. Because it is a multi-sided channel, I have both the user side of things and I have the supplier side of things. So this is how I structured my work breakdown structure to capture all the key activities and all the information leading up to those key activities. Now, in order to populate it, I'm going to use, as I mentioned, my revenue model and especially my channels element here that we just went through. So some of these slides I put together that are going to be quite relevant to this is this slide where I break down the short-term revenue streams and I break down the midterm revenue streams. And then also this slide here where we go through all of the logistical things that need to happen to go from making our user aware all the way to their purchase and the whole journey in between that. And then the same thing here for the supplier side of the channel, and we listed everything that goes into each step of that, and we're going to use this now to populate our key activities. So I go back to my Excel and I say, in the short term, what are the transactional activities that need to take place in order to deliver X, Y, and Z to the customer? Well, what am I delivering? I'm delivering affiliate partnerships, and in each one of these transactions the customer is going to be clicking on a link that takes them to my affiliate partner. So I don't have anything to do with that. It's fully automated. There are no transactional activities that go into it. And then I also have the value offering of the travel agent. Now if they purchase this travel agent, now I need to provide that service, and if I'm doing it, that's going to be a key activity I need to perform. If it's a partner doing it, I still want to capture that information. So on the user side of things, Skype consultation. Every time someone makes a purchase, this key activity needs to occur. In the midterm, restaurants, there's no activity that goes on there. As far as the user goes, as far as the supplier goes, there is some maintenance to this relationship, but I wouldn't call it a transactional activity. I would call it an administrative activity. Same thing with locals partner, both for the users and the suppliers. I'm not involved in this transaction. For the e-commerce, because I mentioned we'd actually want to physically meet up with that person, there are going to be some transactional activities there. On the user side of things, I am going to have to meet up physically with that person or physically deliver them those goods somehow. We're not going to mail it because that's not how they do things here. And then from the supplier point of view, I need to, you might call this transactional or you might call it administrative. We're not going to get caught up in the details of that, but I need to purchase new inventory, and I also need to track my inventory. So every time there's a purchase, I need to do inventory management, track inventory. Perhaps that can be automated, but right now I'm going to list everything. If I'm not positive it's going to be automated, I want to list it here. So I'm going to pause this video now, and I'm going to go through this process, and I'm going to take a look at each one of these elements and what's going into that, and I'm going to come back and go through that. Okay, so I just went through that process that I did for transactional activities. I did it for marketing, sales, administration, and financial, just to review what we came up with. For marketing and sales, in order for my users to find me, every month there's going to be a little bit of SEO maintenance, maybe once in a long while a new YouTube video. As far as the supplier side of marketing and sales, in order to acquire new people, I might email certain restaurants some Google Analytics. As far as administration, every once in a while I'm going to have to update my website, probably monthly. You know, some restaurants are going to leave, new restaurants pop up, same for Airbnbs, so there's a monthly maintenance going into that. Same with the Mescal tour partners, the car rental partners. In the midterm, the Airbnbs, restaurants, and with locals. So primarily what we're doing for key activities is maintaining content and maintaining relationships. So essentially at the end of the day, this is very much so automated passive income business model. The e-commerce side of that really throws that off a little bit, but maybe I can look for a partner to manage that side of things so I can remove myself entirely. And it's really, again, just about maintaining these relationships and maintaining the content and making sure it's up to date on the website. Now, I'm not going to go into detail about the one-off key activities, but essentially it breaks down into research, content creation, website, affiliate partners, setting up those relationships, and setting up the marketing behind it all. In the next video, I am going to go into a little bit of detail and go through how I came up with these activities. But for your first iteration of the business model development, you don't need to go into a ton of detail here until you really know that you're going to pursue this opportunity. So that pretty much completes the key activities. And now we can decide which activities are going to be completed by which resources, and eventually what partnerships can we form to try to make that as easy and smooth as possible, and that will get us to our profit analysis.